Hey guys, Luminews here. So today I'm going to be giving my review for Danganronpa 3 Episode 8, Despair Side. And this was a really good episode. I feel like every episode from here on out is probably just going to get even more intense since we're really getting to the despair. But in my last Despair Side video, I said there was a couple of parallels between the Super Danganronpa 2 killing game and this one in the comment section. So a lot of you guys want to know what those were, so I'll go ahead and put them on the screen now. The main one I noticed was at the beginning of Super Danganronpa 2, Hajime was the only member of the killing game that hadn't been introduced yet into the game, and when he enters he sees everybody standing like this. And similarly in this killing game we see Izuru walk in and see everybody positioned in the same way that they were in Super Danganronpa 2. This was the one that I noticed. Some people online noticed a couple of other ones, which I will link in the description if you guys want to check those out. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with this episode review. So the episode starts out and we see Junko playing with a puzzle that has the Last Supper on it, except for instead of the disciples, it has Monokuma heads placed on them. She also looks over all the pictures of the 77th class that are shown in the ending theme of this anime, and in this scene we also see her placing Monokuma head chips on each member of the 77th class, showing that she is more than likely already planning on how to convert them into despair. In the next scene, we see tons of different Reserve Corps students protesting outside of Hope's Peak Academy, and we learn that the news of the killing game and human experimentation is spreading even outside of Hope's Peak Academy, which we learned in Super Danganronpa 2 is how the tragedy began. And after this scene, we get a scene of Ryota on his computer, and he eventually runs into this video called ZV Test. This video is of course of the killing game, and Junko tries to alter it as well using similar brainwashing tactics that Ryota uses in his anime, but of course she tries to use it to turn people to despair instead of hope. Something I really like about this scene is that it shows Ryota's eyes turn red, much like how it showed the other members of the 77th class with red eyes in the opening change, symbolizing them falling into despair. So I think his eyes turning red in this scene symbolizes that the rest of the 77th class will eventually watch a video similar to this that will convert them to despair. But while watching this video, Mikon interrupts him, and we see that she is pretty much just in full despair mode at this point. Ryota questions Mikon as to why Junko would make this video, and Mikon lips something inaudible. I haven't seen anybody trying to interpret it like I did last time with Tengen. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not sure exactly what she's saying based off of her lip movements, but just from knowing Junko, I'm assuming that Mikon is saying that Junko is doing it for despair or something along those lines. Next, we go back to seeing the Reserve Corps students protest outside, and Juzo and the rest of the security officers really try to make a really peaceful sort of agreement with all the students. They try to keep things calm and maintained, you know? Nah, I'm just kidding. Juzo beats them up. I understand that this crowd is pretty reckless, but I feel like Hope's Peak Academy is really bad at handling situations like this. They cover stuff up, they don't address any of the complaints issued at them, they took poles and kicked people off of the fences, and then once they got inside, they just proceeded to beat them up. But moving on, we do get to see this quick shot of Matsuda from Danganronpa 0, and I was pretty excited, which you guys will see in the reaction. I'm hoping we'll get to see more of the Zero characters in the future, and hopefully more of them interacting with the main characters of this anime as well. And next we see the 77th class in their room, and in this scene we learn that the faculty of Hope's Peak Academy actually lied to the students and told them that this riot was in fact a parade, which just emphasizes yet again how bad Hope's Peak Academy is about covering up this stuff. And after this scene we go back to Ryota and Mikon, and here Mikon is trying to convince Ryota to help them, and it definitely seems like she's using her sexuality to do so, but eventually Junko interrupts her. And I know I said earlier that Mikon was in full despair mode in this episode, and this scene is when you really see it show. She's worshipping Junko and loving it when Junko's mad at her or treats her badly. And just a fun fact, in this scene, once Mikon starts going crazy, they play her punishment song in the background. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then Junko reveals that the video that Mitsurai watched was the video that turned Mikon into despair. And although this worked on Mikon, Junko is nowhere near as good at brainwashing tactics as Ryota is, so she needs his help to create a better video that can brainwash more people. Personally, I do believe it's a bit odd that Mikon went from being, you know, her normal self to just complete despair mode from watching this particular video, especially since it didn't affect Ryota at all. I do believe the reason it didn't affect him is because of what Junko is saying about the fact that she isn't particularly amazing at using brainwash tactics yet, but it is still a bit odd to me that Mikon fell so heavily into despair from this video, even though it wasn't the full-blown video that she plans on showing the 77th class and anybody else. She states in the episode that she wants Ryota's help to broaden the demographic of the video, so my opinion is that either she designed the brainwashing specifically in this video to make Mikon fall into despair, or Junko somehow got inside her head before, during, or after the video. But then again, Mikon is the most vulnerable of the 77th class, so I could be overthinking this, and maybe Mikon was just an easier target to fall into despair, so Junko didn't have to put as much effort into the video. But I just wanted to give my quick opinion on that. Let me know if you guys have any other comments or opinions or theories regarding that as well. But moving on, Junko of course asked Mitarai if he would help her create this despair video, which he declines and tries to run away. And upon this, Junko and Makuro both threaten him, saying that they will put his classmates in the next killing game. So after this, we see the 77th class all sitting around worrying about Sumiki. Kamaeda returns from vacation and is soaking wet when he arrives to the classroom, and when inside he points out that he saw Sumiki earlier in the West District. Something particular about this scene is that in Kamaeda's flashback he shows that he has an umbrella, but when he walks into the classroom he is completely drenched from the rain. So I don't know about you guys, but it definitely seems like he's lying about something regarding the story. But anyways, upon hearing this, the ultimate imposter gets pretty heated. It definitely seems like him and Sumiki have a pretty strong bond. I feel pretty bad knowing that if he does find Mikon, she is going to be just in complete despair and utterly insane. So some of me wonders that if he does see her this way, if that will push him partially into despair as well. And after this, they all decide to go after Mikon, and Chisa eventually sees the note saying that they went outside, so she runs after them to try and bring them back and keep them safe. We also see in this episode that Munakata has arrived to Hope's Peak Academy as well, and him and Juzo begin fighting the Reserve Corps students. They also call Chisa, which we see that she does not answer at all this episode. They emphasize quite a few times this episode that she does not answer the call, so I'm pretty interested to see what the significance there is. Also, in the last Future Side episode, Juzo mentions that he does not want to let down Munakata again, and then he has that flashback of him on the floor in the rain with Junko looking down at him. And now that Munakata is here and it's raining and they're all outside, I do wonder if we'll be seeing that scene pretty soon. I think the next episode is going to be picking up exactly where this one left off, because we see Chisa going down into that bunker. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that flashback come to life in the next episode. Next, I want to talk about Chiaki and Nagito finding the secret area that Ryota and Junko and Mikon are hidden at. At first, they come across the Izuru Kamakura statue, and Nagito acts as if it's his luck that gets them in, but later in the episode we see that Nagito knows a lot more about what's going on in the school than he lets on. While walking down the stairs with Chiaki, he also implies that he knows about the human experimentation going on in the school as well. And then upon entering the room, they run into Ryota Mitarai, who is pretty defensive and looks to be just completely full of despair. He states over and over again that he hasn't done anything, and since he keeps repeating himself and seems so defensive about this, I think he definitely has begun working on the complete despair anime, but as to whether or not he's made enough for Junko to use, I'm not completely sure. Next, we get this face-off between Junko and Nagito, and this is where Nagito reveals that he really does know a lot about what's going on. It seems like he knows about Junko, Makuro, and pretty much everything they're doing. He even tells Peko to go fight Makuro as backup so that she doesn't interfere with him trying to kill Junko. So it's definitely interesting that Nagito knows so much about what's going on. I felt like that happened a lot in Super Danganronpa 2, that he was always like 10 steps ahead of you, and at the same time would never actually tell you what was going on, but would give you like subtle hints, basically so he could watch Hajime and the rest of the students' hope shine. And I felt like he was kind of doing that here as well. And he eventually pulls out a gun and points it at Junko. While he points the gun at her, he expresses that he wishes that she could stop him from doing this because If she is so weak that he can kill her now, then she's not a big enough despair to make the others shine. I did enjoy seeing Junko's reaction to Nagito's speech. I feel like she's going to feel really accomplished when she manages to pull him into despair. And after this, we get an encounter between Nagito and Izuru. So this scene is pretty confusing because back in Super Danganronpa 2 Chapter 0, we saw a flashback of Nagito and Izuru on the ship to Jabberwock Island. And in this scene, Nagito explicitly states that this is their first time meeting. And Izuru doesn't specifically say that this is the first time he's ever met Nagito, but the way he talks to Nagito in this conversation does make it seem like this is the first time that he's met him, or that he doesn't remember the time that he previously met him. I went back and rewatched the scene just to kind of back up my case on this. At one point, Nagito says that he's very lucky, and Izuru sort of questioned him, saying, "Lucky? Oh, that must be your talent then." So this whole scene implies that he didn't know this person, he didn't know his talent, even though we see in this episode that Komaeda states his talent and has met Izuru. So I think they're gonna try and explain this by saying that since Komaeda has dementia, he lost his memories of this. As to how they're going to explain Izuru losing his memories of this, I'm not so sure. Maybe since he was just so bored by Komaeda's existence, he forgot about his talent, or forgot about the encounter altogether. Overall, I thought it was pretty strange. I kind of would have preferred Komaeda to meet Hajime over Izuru, mostly because it would have made more sense. But overall, it still was an enjoyable scene to watch. I enjoyed that they had a battle of luck where Komaeda attempts to shoot Izuru, but his luck jams the gun, and then Izuru tries to shoot Komaeda, but it ends up hitting a student handbook instead. So I thought that was pretty cool. But after this, we see that Ryota escapes and runs into Chisa. There, he warns her that they're going to kill Chiaki. And at the beginning of the episode, when we saw Junko looking over the pictures of the 77th class, it seems like she is focusing on Chiaki a good bit and how good of a class representative she is and how she brings everyone together. So I wouldn't be too shocked if Junko is trying to come up with a plan to kill Chiaki and force the rest of the class into despair from that. If we're going in that route, I think she might make a video of Chiaki getting killed. More than likely it could involve Izuru as well, and then she would incorporate those brainwashing tactics that she put in the last video. And then if she showed that to the 77th class, I feel like that might be a good way for her to turn them to despair, or turn at least most of them to despair. But that's just an idea I have. It's just complete speculation on my part. And at the very, very end of the episode, we see that Chiaki actually recognizes Izuru as Hajime, which I was pretty excited about because it was something that I had called and really, really wanted to happen. And I'm very interested to see how this changes the relationship between them, and if Hajime, deep down inside there, will recognize her as well. But anyways, this concludes my review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, it'd be really awesome if you left a like or a comment. It really helps me out, and I will see you guys real soon. Oh yeah, it's all the pictures from the ending. That's cool. Mikon seems a little despair. Little despair driven. Yeah, she's got Monokumas in all of them. That's cool. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Ryota. It's like, she's starting to drool a little too much. Oh god, his eyes are red. I feel like that's foreboding. God, he just beats everybody up. Just like, it doesn't matter who it is or what's going on. It's just like, nope, let's not talk about things. Ah! Hey! Oh my god! Danganronpa Zero husbando. That's awesome. Oh, it's such a tease. They're not even gonna go back and show him. They're just gonna leave it there. God dang it. Freaking Kodiak. Oh god. She's in just like full despair mode. Ryuta's just like the king of derpy faces. He didn't even recognize her. Oh god. It's about to get crazy. Oh gosh, she like knows everything that's up. He's always so smart. Oh, whoa! I was wondering why I asked Pekka to do something. He was like that in the game too. He was always like 10 steps ahead. Yeah, he might fall into despair just from like having to create the anime. That's Komaeda for you. Pull out a gun or a bomb. What? Oh, wait, they said they didn't meet before. They acted like they didn't meet before. They just like forget about that? Or dang. I'm guessing obviously he survives, but god, he's in love. Oh yeah, okay, the student handbook, of course, is in his pocket, so that's how he survives. Oh, sweet. I wonder if she's gonna recognize him. She does! Oh! I knew it! Oh, poor Chiaki.
Subscribe to Weeby News for more hope-filled videos.